obviously tonight we're going to be talking about the Ecuador course that I co-teach with Dr. Renata Ribeiro. And what I was thinking I would do is give a short presentation that's kind of an overview of the course. So some of you have probably seen this before, maybe more than once, but others of you I think may not have seen it. So I'll do that. It should only take about 5 minutes or so, and then we can jump into any sort of question and answers that you guys might have. Does that sound okay? Does anybody have anything they want to, any burning questions that they want to ask before I do that? Okay, fantastic. Well, thanks a lot. Let's see here. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to show, hey, Joaquin. I'm going to show, okay, so let's see. So this is a course that we've taught now 6 times. And I can just say for me, it's by far and away my favorite course that I teach here. And I think for a lot of students who've taken it, it's been one of the most impactful, if not the most impactful, and oftentimes the favorite experience that they've had while at Tulane, at least in terms of coursework. So it's a 3-credit upper division course. It's listed in the Department of Ecology and Evolutionary Biology, but it also satisfies environmental studies requirements, including the methods requirement. And more broadly, it satisfies the 1st or 2nd tier service learning requirement. So regardless of what major you're in, or if you're undeclared or whatever, it's something that can at least count as an upper division elective course in the sciences and satisfy the service learning requirement. And if you're in environmental studies or ecology and evolutionary biology, it actually counts towards your major requirements directly. And what we do on the class is we go down for about 2 weeks to this little pocket of northwestern Ecuador in northwest South America, in an area called the ChocoBio geographic zone, which is a really unique and just really fascinating little pocket of the world. It's got the Andes Mountains on one side that separate it from the Amazon basin. It's got the Pacific Ocean on the other side. So there's tons of species there that are found nowhere else on the planet. It's also really interesting from a cultural and sociological perspective as well. And I've been working there for almost 20 years now, including having lived there for about 6 years and forming really tight relationships with the people that live in the area where we work. And we've started a community-based research project there that a few years ago, we actually took the step of forming an in-country non-governmental organization, or NGO, that's called FCAT. And FCAT recently purchased a reserve, which you can see here in this little picture right here. It's this red polygon right here. It's about nearly double the size of Central Park in New York, to give a sense of scale. And FCAT right now is in the middle of a pretty ambitious corridor project where we're seeking to either purchase or strike arrangements with neighbors to create a corridor that will link this big forest area here named Bilsa through with this unique rainforest lake here called Laguna de Cube. So one thing that's really just awesome and fascinating about this course is that you will be completely and 100% embedded in a real world, both conservation and research type project that's won multiple awards globally for what they've managed to accomplish conservation wise. And you're really going to be introduced and immersed in what it looks like to be on the cutting edge of a real world conservation project. So we'll be spending most of our time at this station, although we will visit some other habitat types, including high elevation sites that are above the tree line, even though it's right on the equator. So that's pretty awesome. And then checking out sort of cloud forests and other tropical forest types as we move down the western slope to get to the site. So what does it look like on the day-to-day? Your average day looks like this. You're staying in this field station right here, surrounded by rainforest. You wake up in the morning and you have breakfast. There's delicious food there that are cooked by local residents. And then on an average day, at some point in the day, you'll have a lecture that lasts about an hour and a half. And oftentimes those take place out in the rainforest. So we're really trying to get you immersed in the forest as much as possible. So there's, in addition to lectures about the fundamentals of tropical ecology and conservation, there's also guided walks and learning about plants and local animals and stuff like that. And also every night, one thing that's oftentimes the most impactful part of the course is that there's informal talks that are given by local residents or by the professors that are on the course or by the grad students that are on the course or by Ecuadorian collaborators or graduate students that basically just talk about their experience in conservation and tropical biology and what their trajectory was like. And during the course, over the course of the whole class, you hear from local residents that have a very limited formal education, but that have worked in tropical conservation for as much as 20 years, like Jorge Olivo shown here. And you're talking to graduate students who have kind of just started their PhD programs, or graduate students that are nearly finishing their PhD programs are faculty, both from Ecuador and the United States. So you get a really broad sense of like different perspectives and different ways that people do conservation and research. And then the last part of it, last but certainly not least, because it's a really major part of it, is a project that you do during this course. So what we do is we talk with students, and before we go down there, we identify 3 or 4 different groups of students that consist of 3 or 4 students each that kind of have a similar research interest. And these can be like sort of ecological type questions. So for example, in the past, there have been people who've done research on using camera traps, motion activated camera traps, to look at mammals and terrestrial birds and how the diversity of those changes in primary, pristine habitat versus more impacted habitat. Or sometimes we catch birds in mist nets, and we capture them, you get a chance to hold them in the hand, take measures, take photographs and stuff like that, and then study how they change in relation to habitat quality. Or types of studies that look at, say, like, we use these little models of caterpillars that we make different colors and different sizes, and we place them in different contexts and look at predation rates on those clay models to see how predation risk varies across different habitats. Those are just some examples of ecological type studies. But then there's also space for students that are more interested in sort of the sociological and economic perspectives to do projects that look at, some of the social and gender and economic determinants of why it is that local households manage their land in one way versus another way, and how they value conservation, and questions that are basically more along sort of the social and development side of conservation. So we work with you to develop projects that you're excited and motivated by. And then when you're down there, you form a small team. Each student on the team kind of has their own little piece of the question that they're looking at. And oftentimes there's either a graduate student or a faculty member, and at least one of the FCAT local resident researchers that's part of your team. And during the time that you're there, you implement this project and then work with the graduate student and the local resident to actually write up the results. And at the end, we do a presentation for local residents. So these are projects that have been sort of the genesis of at least a dozen honors thesis projects by Tulane students. And many of those, 4 so far that have already been published, plus another 2 or 3 that are in the pipeline, have resulted in first author peer-reviewed publications by the students from this course. So it's a really great opportunity to get firsthand research, and if you want to run with it, to actually turn it into a peer-reviewed publication for yourself. And we work with you closely to make that happen if it's something that you want to take on. So the instructors are myself, Dr. Ribeiro, who's also my partner. We take our 2 kids as well. This is Olivia, and Joaquin comes as well. They're small and young, but they may know more than you about tropical ecology at this point, because this is going to be like their 6th time taking this course. And then there's also going to be 4 or 5 PhD level graduate students, both in ecology and the social sciences. We're also expecting to have faculty from sociology and from the arts from Tulane down there with us at the same time. And then finally, the local resident researchers like Beto shown here are major teachers on this course. So when you add up all those people, really the ratio of instructors to students is sort of like 1-to-1. It's a really rich and outstanding learning environment. The dates are the first 2 weeks in August. I think I said in my email that it's August 2nd to the 15th, but it's actually the 1st to the 15th. So the way it works is we'll arrange for you guys to all fly down to Ecuador so that if you're not there already for some reason, you would arrive on the same day. We'll meet you at the airport. And then we will completely arrange for all your travel logistics to get down to the station. We've worked closely with the Tulane Legal Council and the Provost's office to come up with a plan that is approved by the university and is about as safe as we think we can be for COVID-related concerns. And you'll basically spend the majority of your time at the station until the end, although we will hit up some hot springs high up in the Andes Mountains right before heading to the airport on our way out, which is a very nice way to sort of capstone experience for the course and a way to de-stress before the flight. So the cost is $4,500 per student plus airfare. And we do offer both merit and need-based financial aid. So on the application that you'll fill out for the course, there's prompts there that ask you if you want to apply for either of those or both. And we encourage you to do that. We don't want the price point to be a barrier for students on this. So don't let that turn you away from applying. We do our best to accommodate all students. Here's some pictures from different students that have been down there and interacted on the course. Here's some quotes from students that have taken it before. And just this will be kind of the last thing I say, but like I said before, this is an experience that I think is really unique in Tulane. And I think the thing that's most impactful about it, and what I've heard from a lot of students about this, is that it's a unique opportunity to connect the dots between the knowledge that you learn in the classroom and, you know, immersive research experience, and being able to directly see how those two things can contribute to real world change. Because like I said at the top of the presentation, you will be fully embedded in a award-winning conservation program. You'll be interacting with the people that are implementing that program, that project, and it will be happening right around you in real time as you're working. So it's a really, I think, exciting and powerful opportunity for you to, you know, move out of just like the ivory tower and the pure knowledge that you're getting in the classroom and see that through the real world impact. We've had one project that was done is that there's a local resident there, and now at this point, there's a few different local residents that are working to establish ecotourism on their own land. So, you know, FCAT, which is the NGO and the organization in Ecuador, has worked with these local residents to help them build up their sort of business plan and their viability as a business model to make this something that actually works for them economically. So we have students in the past have spent time at these eco reserves and worked with the owners of them to identify sort of what their opportunities are and what their needs are in terms of marketing, you know, and sort of a presence on social media. Students have made promotional videos before. Students have put together, you know, sort of guides that they would then present to, you know, tourists that come. So basically identify, you know, sort of like a business plan type approach and sort of a marketing type approach are projects that have been done in that context. And then more, you know, other projects that have been done are students have interviewed women to understand specifically how women of different ages, you know, from sort of high school age students up to you know, grandmas, view the environment and view sort of a woman's place within it in this society, which can be a very sort of machista, you know, society, and sort of getting that perspective on it. And then another group of students have also done both qualitative and quantitative surveys of local residents to understand, you know, why is it, sort of the questions that I was talking about before, why is it that, you know, one family is, you know, deforesting all their land to put in cattle, whereas another one is doing shade-grown cacao, for example. And what are the sort of the attitudes towards conservation and what are perceived as the opportunities and barriers around conservation. The service is just fundamentally embedded in the course. So everybody who participates, it's not like you would do anything different from the other students to get the service learning requirement. Everybody who completes the course satisfies the service learning requirement if they want to use it, you know, so there may be some students that just don't need it. But oftentimes, I mean, the research that you end up doing is oftentimes relevant to, you know, local community interests and needs. And at the end, we share the results with the local communities. And there's also, you know, as part of the built-in coursework for everybody, there's a couple of reflective type essays that take place. The August 1st is a Sunday. So you would arrive in Quito, excuse me, you'd arrive in Quito like late Sunday night, probably. And, you know, we'd meet you at the airport, we'd go to like a hotel that's nearby and sleep there. And then the following morning, we'd get in a bus, we'd have breakfast, get in a bus, and it's about, you know, 4 or 5 hours down to the site. We'll stop on the way to kind of check out different habitat types, get to the station. And then we have, you know, there's sort of getting your feet under you, getting the project started. We have, in the past, we've had 3 days that have been sort of like local field trips where we haven't done any research or lectures on those days. Like one is going to a larger reserve. A second one is going to visit one of these ecotourism sites. And a third one that we've done in the past, but we may find a different type of activity for this course because of COVID, is go and visit like a local high school, which I think is probably not going to work out this time for us. But we'll find some other sort of, you know, community immersion type of experience. So that's, and then near the end of the course, like on the last day, we have a party. We present our results using, you know, like a projector and slides and stuff. And then we drive, the next day we get up in the morning, drive back up the mountains up to Quito. We check out these hot springs and, you know, spend a few hours there, which is really amazing. and then go down to the airport, and the flights leave later that evening. So that's kind of like the basic structure of the course. And then the time that we're at the field, like an average day, once we kind of get in the rhythm, an average day is like you wake up, if you want to, you can get up early and go out and mist net birds, or you can go on a nature walk before breakfast, or you can just, sleep in until like 7. We have breakfast from like 7 to 8. Then typically you go out with your team and do data collection from like 8 until noon. So that's like a heavy field work component. Then we have lunch. Then you have an hour of downtime from 1 to 2. Then we have a lecture from like 2 to 3:30 or something. Then you get together with your group and you work on like data analysis, or kind of like synthesizing your project results from like 3:30 to 5. Then there'll be time to go on like a walk or just kind of hang out. There's a observation deck that we have on the second floor of one of these buildings that has hammocks, and it looks out over some really beautiful forests, and there'll be toucans that'll come and perch nearby, or monkeys that will be going by, so you can just kind of chill out in the hammocks and watch nature go by, which is pretty relaxing at the end of the day. Then we have dinner from like 7 to 8, and then we have the evening talks from like 8 to 9-ish, and then there's like sort of usually by 10 o'clock everybody is collapsed in a heap and sleeps soundly until we start over again. So the course it's pretty, we dial it back, so it's not like go. We build in like a couple of free half days, and we have hour blocks that are free throughout the day. But it's we try to make the most of our time down there, so it's very active and very rich sort of days. Yeah, so that's kind of what it looks like. We've worked with freshmen before, including we've worked with freshmen on almost every time we've run this course. Some have had research experience, others haven't. We've worked with other students that have really had no research experience at all, and we can definitely accommodate zero. So I'd say it's great if you don't have any research experience. You can learn and have a really transformative experience. So yeah, we would be happy to to work with you and help build up your research skills within the context of the course. The largest group numerically is mestizo colonists. The area was really kind of filled in by mestizo colonists that moved up from provinces in southern Ecuador in the past like 40 years or so. But there's 2 indigenous groups that we also work with pretty closely. The first is Afro-Ecuadorians. There's a couple of communities that are primarily Afro-Ecuadorian, and part of the staff that works with FCAT are Afro-Ecuadorian. And then the second group is Chachi, which is an indigenous group. And they have some communities that are further afield. So FCAT works with them pretty closely, but their communities are located far enough away that it's not really logistically feasible on this course for us to go. It's like a 1.5 day walk to get there. So it's more than we can really bite off in the context of this course. But yeah, so. Yeah. There's no prereqs for this class. We really welcome a range of students, both in terms of your disciplinary interests. So in the past, we've had business majors, we've had poli-sci majors, we've had public health, we've had international development, we've had psychology, we've had anthro, as well as e-bio. We've had physics and art. And we also welcome a range of experiences. It's a small enough class that we can really sort of accommodate different levels of experience and expertise and interests. But then it's also like, like in the past, like the last time we ran the class, there was 15 undergrads in the course, and then there was I think 16 or 17 either local residents or graduate students or Ecuadorian faculty or conservationists that came and joined the course, or core teachers. So it ends up being a really big group in some ways, and with a lot of diversity in it, in terms of experience and interest and backgrounds and perspectives. So we can really work to accommodate a range of people, and the language is not a barrier. We've had students that have come down and done this course without speaking a lick of Spanish, including some students that have actually done sociological work without speaking really any Spanish at all, because a number of FCAT staff as well as graduate students are bilingual. And there was something else I wanted to say about that. and also, you know, the local residents who've worked on this project, you know, this will be, you know, like the 6th course or the 7th course that they've done, and they've also had students that come down to do independent research. So basically, they have learned to communicate quite well through, you know, hand gestures and smiles, and they know some English themselves. So it's, the communication definitely happens. I mean, the main thing that we look for is people that are, you know, excited about this opportunity and that are going to be good team players on the course, you know, and like, because, you know, we're down there, like we're one big happy family. And when we're down there, it's, you know, it's a big reserve and it's a big field station and there's plenty of outdoor space. But at the same time, if there's someone who's really a pain in the neck, you know, they're going to bring everybody down. So we try to, you know, just make sure that people are well suited for this type of experience. And I mean, to be honest with you, that's really what one of our main criteria are. In the past, we've run the course. The last time we ran it, we had 15 students. There were some students that applied for one reason or another. It didn't seem like they were a good fit for it. You know, so we evaluate. We oftentimes have like a follow-up, you know, kind of interview just to make sure that people are comfortable with going and stuff like that. Because I mean, the station's pretty comfortable. It has electricity. It has, you know, lukewarm showers. The food is awesome. It's simple, but it's comfortable and beautiful. But at the same time, you know, it's not like staying at the Hilton in downtown of a city. You're out in the rainforest. So just making sure that people kind of know what they're signing up for. And in terms of background and interests, you know, we're really, I mean, we're open to working with a wide range of people. This should be evident by now. So there's really no sort of, you know, criteria that we have that are hard and fast in that regard. That Dr. Ribeiro is here, so maybe she can come over and say a quick hello while you guys think about more questions. Let me.
Professor at the Ecology and Evolutionary Biology Department. And I'm a professor of the practice, so I teach a series of several courses. But this one is by far my favorite. I don't know what else you guys want to know. I'm originally from Brazil. I'm not research active these days, but I did a lot of research, mostly with birds, but I kind of dabbled around and did a little bit of everything. I don't know, you have questions for me?
If there's any questions, you know, please just reach out to Dr. Ribeiro or myself. Megan can help with questions about the sort of nuts and bolts of applying, et cetera. And, you know, you guys all seem like a great group of students. I've enjoyed chatting with you, and we hope you guys apply.